Thank you. It is such an honor and a great pleasure to be here, a privilege to be here this morning in conversation with all of you. I feel honored, I feel humbled, I feel excited to have a congregation of young leaders, young global leaders who are going to change the face of the world and transform it for the better. So I'm really excited to be here. Through the leadership of the great prophet Emmanuel Makandiwa and Ruth Emmanuel Makandiwa, allow me to stand on the protocol that has been or is being observed on this podium, or protocol observed. Thank you so much to the UFIC leadership, the youth leadership, for extending the invitation to me to be a part of this annual youth camp. I feel so much excited to be here, not only to give knowledge, but to also learn from all of you and what you have been up to during the camp. So I'm really excited to be here. We are the generation that is going to create positive, lasting, and meaningful impact in our communities in Zimbabwe and the world at large. And that is why I'm here, to talk to you about how, as young people, we can step in and step out to solve some of the pressing problems that we are facing in our communities. Let us be the generation that will answer to the pressing challenges, issues, problems, and conundrums facing our world today. The world is in need of transformative leaders, leaders like you, me, and us. That is why we need to answer to the call of transformative leadership. So that's why my presentation today is going to be on transformative leadership for problem solving, anchored on the framework of design thinking. I'll explain. So, problem solving is the act of identifying opportunities where other people are seeing challenges and being able to act. Design thinking is a framework that allows us to better incorporate people who are closest to the problem because they hold the key to their answer. Many a times, we see business leaders, we see social entrepreneurs answering to challenges from their knowledge of the problem without really understanding the depth of the pain points from the people who are experiencing the problem. Therefore, they come up with solutions that look so much good on paper, but when it comes to actual impact on the ground, it's so difficult because people don't have ownership of the solutions. So that is why my work is anchored on design thinking, and that's what I do all across the globe as I go to train, facilitate research, so I can better advise organizations, corporates, governments on how they can answer to the problems that people are facing in our communities. I'm not going to labor much on introducing myself because that has been done already. But also just to add on that there is an opportunity for young people. So I'm part of this organization called We Are Together International Prize. So if we have entrepreneurs and social change makers who would want to tap into funding opportunities, you're welcome to visit We Are Together and see opportunities that are there to better your businesses, to better your social enterprises. I just thought to mention that. So, before we touch on transformative leadership, I want all of us to turn to this video that's going to play on the screens, so we better understand transformative leadership.
सर आपके लिए उस बार कार का इंतजाम किया है सर।
Drama. आगे क्या भागना है?
कैसी जाने बूंदे आए, जाने कैसा दर्द लाए, सामने क्या है ये तेरे, क्यों रुका है तू बता दे। कौन तुझको पार लेगा, कौन होगा वो मसीहा, वो जिसे तू ढूंढता है, वो ही है तू वही है। तुझ में तेरा रास्ता है, तुझ में तेरा है सहारा, तू ही तुझको पार लेगा, तू ही है तेरा किनारा। तुझ में तेरा रास्ता है, तुझ में तेरा है सहारा, तू ही तुझको पार लेगा, तू ही है तेरा
Thank you so much. From the video we saw a young boy. I specifically love the fact that we have got age groups from 15 going up to as far as 40 for our youth. And I felt that this video would inspire the teenagers that we have in this room, that leadership, transformative leadership, has nothing to do with age. It has nothing to do with your size. As long as you have a heart for the world, as long as you have a heart for problem solving, you can transform the world, as we saw from this young man. When everybody else wasn't willing to act, when everybody else was complaining, when everybody else was feeling disgruntled, this particular young man, this young boy, had the audacity, had the guts to say, I want to be the change that I need to see. So as we go into transformative leadership, I want to ask, especially the teenagers we have in this congregation, are you the transformative leaders that we are looking for? Are you going to change the world? Are you going to change your communities? Are you going to change our country for the better? Because it doesn't matter whether you are young, whether you're old, as long as you love to see people living in a better place, as long as you want to see the world becoming a better place, then for sure you can make a difference. So transformative leadership is the act of engaging others in an ethical manner to generate positive and lasting impact. I'll repeat. Transformative leadership is the act of engaging others in an ethical manner to generate positive and lasting impact. And that's what we want to see from us as young people as we go back into our communities. We want to see us being able to engage others where people are feeling distraught, where people are feeling hopeless. We want to be the young people that will ignite hope in our communities. We want to be the young people that will switch on and ignite transformation and bring the change that we are hoping to see and bring the solutions that we are hoping to see in our communities. So that is why there is need for transformative leaders like you to rise in this generation. In the world, we have so many transformative leaders. We have seen a lot of people from technology, from education, changing the face of the world. Even some of the greatest inventions that we have today, even the chair that you're sitting on today, was as a result of transformative leadership. Someone identified a problem and they were willing to act. They were willing to provide a solution to that problem. So we also want to join that bandwagon of change makers, that bandwagon of future makers, that bandwagon of global leaders. In Zimbabwe, we also have a lot of transformative leaders. Some of you, they are your role models. They are people you follow. They are people you love. They are people who inspire you. But I want us to zero in to this particular church. We have our visionaries, Baba Makandiwa and Mama Ruth Emmanuel Makandiwa, as transformative leaders. If it went for their desire for transformative leadership, then we would not be here today. But we are here because they answered to the call to serve. They answered to the call of transformative leadership. They wanted to make sure that at this point in time, at this particular time in history, all of us were gathered here to be able to be the transformation that we need to see in our communities. So we have great examples. We have visionaries of this church who are leading transformation. So why don't we become the very same? So we also want to be transformative leaders. I have, okay, you can give a round of applause. Thank you. I have also had the great opportunity of being mentored and working with some of the transformative leaders from this church. And I want to highlight them today because if it weren't for them, then I would probably not be here. I want to acknowledge Dr. Faith Nyamkapa. She is one powerhouse woman that I know, a transformative leader in our generation, championing entrepreneurship development, leadership development. You see, the digital footprint is there. The work speaks for itself. And I've had the opportunity of working with her, and I'm still working with her. Now our work is even crossing the borders, going all over Africa as we continue to build startup ecosystems across Africa. I also have the privilege of being mentored and working as well with Honorable Sheikh Mo Timburwa. As some of you may know, in 2022, we were both honored and celebrated on the continental stage as Africa 40 under 40. He is one transformative leader who's not afraid to go for what he wants with the heart of a lion and the eye of an assassin. We have seen his footprint in energy, in mining, in agriculture, and he's even mentoring a lot of other Zimbabweans and people from outside of Zimbabwe through his work. Thank you. And this just goes to show that a candle loses nothing by lighting another. A candle loses nothing by lighting another. So that is why we need to go out there into the world and ignite. I specifically like the theme of this camp, this conference, that says ignite. This is a call to action, if you didn't know. It is a call to action. You are being challenged to go out into the world and ignite. So the question is, how are you going to ignite? What are you going to ignite? And it's great because today we are going to share some of the tools that will help you to be able to ignite that. Through the support of these transformative leaders, from following the teachings of the great prophet Emmanuel Makandiwa, to working with Dr. Faith Nyamkapa and also working with Honorable Timburwa, I got the opportunity to also inspire others. I think maybe some of you may have worked with me in one way or the other. You probably were part of some of the initiatives that have come for trainings, or you have had the opportunity of being mentored by me, or you have just bumped into me. You've just bumped into the African wildfire effect. I do not know, but I just want to tell you that the impact that these people had on my life, I just didn't keep it to myself. Hence why, whatever you are learning today, you should never keep it to yourself. You need to go out into the world and be able to share it with the world. Spread hope, spread love, ignite transformation. So through there, I have inspired others. So I want you to also get an opportunity to watch a video of one of my mentees. So I mentored this particular young gentleman in 2019 for the UNICEF Generation Unlimited program. And just last week, I was adjudicating the JCI Creative Young Entrepreneurs program, and I managed to announce them as the winners of that program. So I want to show you what a Zimbabwean young man is doing to bring transformation to their community and also to our country. Ladies and gentlemen, Aluwen Manyonga, Zambezi Arc Technologies.
Breaking the wall of unsustainable lighting. Aluwen Manyonga, Falling Walls Lab, Zimbabwe.
Good day, everyone. Load shedding, a common term where I come from. This reminds me of 2019, when my niece Penda was born. During her birth, the clinic had a power cut, leaving the midwife to rely on a candle for lighting. Mind you, she was born in the capital city of Zimbabwe. Access to lighting even gets worse for 70% of the raw population in sub-Saharan Africa living without electricity. This has reduced productivity in the education and health sector, where lighting is very crucial. Alan Bloom said, education is the movement from darkness to light, but it's unfortunate that millions of Africans are still stuck in the dark. On top of it, lighting accounts for 5% of greenhouse gas emissions. There's also a rise in the amount of waste from LED lighting and plastics. We all can see that our households, schools, and health facilities are in need of sustainable lighting. Hence, I present to you my work on off-grid DC LED lighting. This is a completely DC LED lighting system that eliminates the use of inverters and LED drivers. Apart from reducing components, it uses less cables for wiring, giving us an overall 30% cost reduction. It also cuts down on greenhouse gas emissions as it is fully solar-powered. The system can provide high-quality and reliable lighting to any building without electricity. In addition, the lighting system is capable of charging cell phones and Chigub lanterns. Chigub lantern is my other unique innovation that is made from LED lighting electronic waste and housed in plastic waste bottles. Chigub means plastic bottle in Shona, a Zimbabwean language. Chigub lantern has created a social cause initiative that trains students on how to make their own lanterns using waste. This initiative has potential of turning tons of litter into lights that can benefit students. The two solutions are currently providing net zero and secular lighting to over 350 students in Southern Africa as part of trials. My work is in support of UN SDG 4, 7, and 13 by providing sustainable lighting to our schools and health facilities. Ladies and gentlemen, that little girl holding the Chigub lantern is Penda, who had her first cry in the dark, but now she's smiling into the brightness of her future. I call you today, let us still remind you that together we can break the wall of unsustainable lighting and ensure a light for every student and a light for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. This is the work of a Zimbabwean, a young Zimbabwean, university student that saw a need in the communities and dared to act. So many times we want to look so far away for solutions, but we do have them. It is the problems that we are facing each and every day that require us to have a different mindset and to say we want to be the ones that will solve these problems. Aluwen could have complained. He could have blamed anyone and everyone for what was going on. But instead of seeing a problem, he saw an opportunity to make a difference. So, UFIC youth, are we going to be the ones that are going to complain? Or we are going to be the ones that will see possibilities Where there are challenges, we are going to be the ones that will see opportunities where there are challenges, and we will say, challenges are nothing to us. Challenges are an opportunity to make a difference. So I hope that we will learn from this. And for those that are already working on their innovative ideas and already championing innovation and transformation in our communities, I want to congratulate you and I want to honor you and celebrate you. You are the ones that makes the world a better place for everyone to live in. So now that we have learned about transformative leadership, the definition, we've seen the videos, I have got a question that I want to ask you. Can your practices become the best practices that what others want to follow? The things that you're doing today as a young leader, as a UFIC young leader, as a Zimbabwean young leader, as an African young leader, are your practices today, can they inspire others to want to follow what you're doing? I, for one, would tell you that indeed my practices are inspiring many, not only in Zimbabwe, not only in Africa, but across the world, because I've taken the first step to say, I want to be a transformative leader. And that is exactly what I'm doing. Through the power of education, through the power of knowledge, I am bridging the gap to ensure that we all have access to the necessary skill sets and tool sets that will help us to be able to stand out in the world of work and on the global market. So it is us, young people, that have the solutions. We just need to tap into our creative confidence because the power to create is there. We have the limitless imagination. We have the possibilities that can help us to tackle even some of the most pressing and the most daring challenges in our societies. But we just don't need to shortchange ourselves. We don't need to underestimate the power that we have because we have what it takes. So if your actions inspire others to dream more, to learn more, to do more and become more, then you are a leader. These are the words of John Quincy Adams. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. So I hope that our actions, our ways, the things that we are doing today can be inspiration and motivation to other people for them to want to act. So now I will share on the perspectives of leadership. Now that we've seen all these videos, I want to share on the perspectives of leadership. So the first perspective of leadership is that anyone can be a leader. Anyone can be a leader. Leaders are not born, leaders are made. We can have that debate all you want, but I stand on the assertion that leaders are not born, they are made. Because the reason why we are in this place at this particular time is the process of us being developed into the leaders that the world requires. So if we were born leaders, then we wouldn't have to go through all this. We would just be at home because we are leaders. But the reason why you are here looking at me is because you need the knowledge, you need the guidance, you need the coaching, you need the mentorship for you to become the leader, to be better prepared for the world of opportunities so you can tap into them when they present themselves. And I believe this because as a young girl who grew up in Mabvuku in a high density in Harare, Zimbabwe, to be here, to be a global change maker, to be invited by governments to weigh in on issues did not just begin like that. I had to go through a process of being fine-tuned and being molded into a leader that I've become today. If I'd stayed in the streets of Mabvuku, I would never be here. But now, a young girl, I always love to say this when I go into places and I say, how did I come here? A a young girl from the dusty streets, where I see fellow women that where I grew up with, that have been so much disadvantaged by the upbringing, and I see myself being a force to reckon with, being an inspiration not only to my country, but to the world. It really shows the intentionality on my part to want to be a transformative leader. The second perspective is that leadership is an act, not a position. As we saw from the video, from both videos, the young boy in India and Aluwain, they don't hold positions of higher power. They are not ministers. They are not mayors. They are not the CEO of any energy company. They're just young people who have dared to act. So leadership has nothing to do with position. As long as you have the desire to make the world a better place, you can be a leader. The quickest route to leadership is through problem solving. The quickest route to leadership is through problem solving. If you solve a problem and you can stand up and proclaim to the world just like Aluwain was doing, then you are a leader. Leadership is about possibilities. Where others are seeing challenges, where others are seeing the need to complain, where others are seeing the need to be distraught and disgruntled, you are seeing possibilities. You're saying it's okay. There's an opportunity to make a difference. I remember when I was back at the University of Zimbabwe, part of the Enactors team, we went to Mbare Msika, and there was a lot of waste, post-harvest waste in Mbare. For someone would say, I don't even want to go to Mbare because Mbare is dirty. I would rather go and buy in those upmarket shops where it's cleaner, the ambience is great. But we went to Mbare and said, okay, but there could be money in this. This post-harvest trash, what can we do to make a difference? And then we brainstormed, okay, we could create compost from this and create organic fertilizers. We could create biogas out of these and power communities that do not have power so the kids can be able to study at night, so they have got proper lighting. There were so many opportunities that we could come up with from that particular challenge, where others would find a need to complain. We stepped in. And then we went further to say, okay, let's try and avoid the post-harvest losses from actually happening in Mbare. Let's try to go to the source where the farmers are coming from and see what solution we can bring together with them. And we came up with an innovation which we called the e-cooler, where the farmers would be able to store their produce in an e-cooler that was created by the students from the University of Zimbabwe. So imagine how much of a better world we could create if we could just tap into our creative confidence, if we could just tap into our imagination and just have a heart for the world. We could make the world a better place. Anyone can lead in different ways in the society. We don't all have to be Aluwain Manyonga producing Chigubulanten. There's so many challenges. We could be looking at how do we decentralize education so every child is in school. You could look at, okay, how do we come up with products that give financial freedom for people to be able to transact on a daily basis? How do we come up with innovations in mining technologies where we can protect the lives of miners by ensuring that people don't have to go underground to be able to assess if there are minerals, but we can come up with a technology that can identify that, okay, there we have minerals, so people don't have to dig or put their lives at risk. Or you could be the gentleman from Kenya, Seed Bowls, who saw the problem of deforestation in Kenya and was like, I'm going to step in and champion a reforestation and afforestation drive. So what he did was just to take waste, charcoal, then combine it and put a seed in between that and mold it into a ball. And now what he did was to go into schools and educate children on the power of creating forests, sustainable forests. And he said, let's do it in an exciting way. So what we need to do is you just have your own catapult, and then you're just going to catapult the seed wherever it lands. That's where you have planted a seed. So now kids everywhere in his community were holding the catapult and catapulting the seeds instead of the stones. And now when the rain came, the seeds germinated and the trees came to be. So we can all lead in different ways in our communities. So what is that one particular way that you want to lead in your community? How are you going to make a difference? How are you going to make a difference? If this is not a call to action for you, then I don't know what is going to be. We need leaders. We need people who answer to challenges in our communities. We don't want people who complain. We are the generation. Let us be the generation that will transform. Let us be the generation that will answer to the problems that we are facing, not only in Zimbabwe, but across the globe, because the opportunities are there for us to make a difference. Leadership is about making positive changes in the society. I cannot labor much on that because I've already spoken about it. Let us go into the communities and be the ones that are creating positive, meaningful, and lasting impact. Positive, meaningful, and lasting impact in our communities. Leaders share the vision and inspire others to act. So leaders don't journey alone. Leaders groom, nurture, and support others to also become leaders. So if you're a transformative leader, you're not just going to say, this is my idea, so I will hold on to it. I don't want anyone to be a part of it. Share the vision, because you cannot do it alone. Together, we go further. Alone, you go far. So you need others. So be actively mentoring, coaching, nurturing, and ensuring that we create an army of transformative leaders. Leaders have clear, focused visions, goals, and objectives. As a transformative leader, what's your vision? What is your vision? What are your goals? What is the bigger picture? So the vision is, what's the bigger picture? If I ask you in the next 5, 10, 20 years, or rather, what legacy do you want to leave behind? So many a times, I'm always thinking, what's my funeral going to look like? Because I know that I'm going to expire someday. I'm not here forever. But the day that I die, when every person is congregated to give me my last respects and bid farewell to a life that I lived, what is that bigger picture that I would have left behind? Are people going to say we have lost? Or people going to celebrate that, oh, now we have extra oxygen to ourselves because that was a total waste of oxygen? Are people going to be heartbroken because you're gone and say, but Audrey was not done, gone too soon, she had a lot to do? But well, it was a time, but she managed to leave a legacy, and this is the legacy that Audrey left behind. So you need to understand the bigger picture. What is the vision for your life? Where are you going with your life? And then from that, you're able to come up with goals, and goals are those little steps, those small steps that will propel you to the bigger picture. And everything that you do must be aligned with the bigger picture. You mustn't do anything that is contrary or that contradicts with the bigger picture. Objectives. You also need to set your objectives on leadership that you can also find out more about. And then leaders fail fast and fail forward. So let me tell you, failure is going to be part of the journey. You are going to fail. Because as you go into transformative leadership, it's about experimentation. You are doing things that you have not done before. You're walking a path that you have never walked before. So you don't have a manual or a script that will help you to get there. But you're figuring it out as you go. But when you hit a stumbling block, when you hit a hurdle, it's no time to fall down, weep, and say, I have failed. It's a time to reflect and collect and say, what went wrong? How do I make it right? And then you fail fast and you fail forward. So that's what transformative leaders do. You fail fast and you fail forward. I know that growing up, it was not allowed, even in our households, to fail. It was an abomination. So we were brought up to think that failure is a bad thing. Because you'd go home with your report and your parents would be like, what is this? What is this? You should do better, you know. But that you should do better was a way of pushing us to fail fast and fail forward. Because it meant that next time you were going to do better. So leaders fail fast and fail forward. Leaders are risk takers. They are risk takers. You have to make risks. Comfort doesn't breed anything. There is nothing good that comes out of comfort zones. If you find yourself being comfort, you're not going anywhere. You're not progressing. So you need to take risks. So taking risks could be, okay, there is an opportunity that just got out. There is an application for a job, but I don't think I have the necessary qualifications. But I think I have the right aura and mindset to be able to do this job. I'm going to apply anyway. That's taking risks. Taking risks could be Wayne saying that there is no lighting. But what can I do if I take this electronic waste, TVs and microwaves that people have thrown away because they're no longer working? If I take this motherboard, if I take this and I put them together, am I able to create something? That's taking risk. And I'm sure he failed so many times, but he failed fast and failed forward until he came up with an innovation that the rest of the world is celebrating today. The world is celebrating that risk-taking that he was able to do. And let me tell you something heartbreaking. It's the risk-takers that are noticed. Those in the comfort zone, nobody wants to be friends with them. Nobody knows about you. You're just living. You're just existing. But it is those that have got the boldness to create that the world celebrates. And the world, boldness to create has a lot of friends. Look, Wayne just came from Germany for Falling Walls. Next month, he will be in Kigali presenting his idea. God knows where else he's going to be. Because he just took the first step because his niece was born in the dark. So we don't need to look far. The opportunity to make a difference is closer than you think. It's very close. Those frustrations, like whatever frustrates you, is an opportunity to make a difference because it's probably frustrating a lot of other people. Leaders are self-aware. Leaders know themselves. So for you to be able to lead others, you must be aware of self. You must know who you are, your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, your threats. You must know all that because that better positions you to say, are you going to be a strengths-based leader? Are you going to zero in much on your strengths in your leadership journey? Are you going to hammer on your strengths? So you're going to be someone who's going to be very conscious of their weaknesses and say, I'm going to work on them so that they become strengths. So you need to know yourself. Leaders are also accountable. They take themselves to account. You need to ask yourself the tough questions. Am I still on track? Am I still doing the things that I set myself to be able to do? The things that I'm doing today, the friends that I'm hanging out with today, do they align with the bigger picture in life? The person that I'm walking with today, do they align with the bigger picture in life? The content that I'm consuming today, does it align with the bigger picture in life? The words that are coming out of my mouth today, do they align with my bigger picture for life? So you need to ask yourself those tough questions. And even the things that do not align may look rosy and nice and good. You must have the discipline to say, I will not partake. I will not be a part of this because it does not align with the brand. So some time ago, there was a trend on Twitter which was talking about brand alignment. I think somebody said they were not friends with someone because their brand was no longer aligning with their brand. So that's also the things that you need to be aware of. The things around you, do they align with your brand? The way you talk, the way you dress, the way you walk, what you eat, does it align with your brand? Does it align with the bigger picture of where you want to end up or go in life? So it's important to be self-aware in leadership. So this generation, especially this particular one, we have a lot of challenges that we are facing. A lot. Everywhere we are turning to, there are so many challenges. We've got drugs and substance abuse, child marriages. We've got a lot of issues, conundrums. So there must never be someone who say there is no space for me to transform. That's not allowed at all. You can't say there is no space because even in the morning when you want to go to work, you are faced with the biggest traffic of your life. You have to wake up at 5 so you can make it at 8 to work. If that doesn't frustrate you, I don't know what does. So look, we've got Elon Musk who's already digging tunnels underground. People think he's crazy. Just when he started talking about electric cars, people thought it was a crazy idea. But he dared to dream. He was very creative. So it comes from those frustrations that we go through every day that we can bring the transformation, that we can ignite the transformation. So I want us to watch another video. So we watched India. We want to zoom out into Africa. And I want us to watch this video. I love this video so much. Every time I watch it, I get goosebumps because it just speaks to the power of creative confidence. And I hope it makes you get goosebumps as well. And it gives you a nudge to want to go into the communities and make a difference. Ladies and gentlemen, Zipline Rwanda.
Rwanda is known as the land of 1,000 hills.
It is a very difficult country in terms of topography, and many areas are hard to reach.
Traversing that terrain to get to a rural village can take hours, even though it's a very short distance.
Today, if a mother is giving birth and suffers from postpartum hemorrhaging, her life is dependent on getting a blood transfusion.
There are many different types of blood types. They have a limited shelf life. And the challenge is when you need blood, you need it immediately. But it is unpredictable which geography that will occur in.
Hospitals that are in more remote areas can have a very hard time getting enough reliably supplied blood.
The time to order and get the supplies by truck is just too late.
There's no way that we can overcome the time that it takes to get anywhere during the rainy season. And people would say, okay, during the rainy season, we're just not going to make it.
The best case scenario, it would take at least 4 hours But with Zipline, we are looking at cutting that 4 hours to something like 15 minutes.
It is a team of Rwandese who came together with Zipline to groom the project and to make it happen in Rwanda.
Their ultimate vision is to put each and every one of those 11 million citizens within a 15 to 35-minute delivery of any essential medical product that they could need. And that's a revolutionary idea for any country in the world.
The use of drones to deliver life-saving medical products can overcome the lack of road infrastructure. We need to let our imagination soar.
When you have a commodity, rare in supply, that might be an unusual blood type or something like a rabies vaccine, and you need it immediately, the idea that we could use a drone to be able to deliver this to the country is absolutely brilliant. There's nothing else that could do that in that way.
It is like we will no longer go around hills, but we fly over the hills.
We've pulled together a team from places like Boeing, SpaceX, Google, Lockheed Martin.
And it's an honor for Zipline to partner with the government of Rwanda.
We place a hub next to an existing medical warehouse, and it instantly enables that warehouse to make hundreds of deliveries per day to any location within range.
The doctor sends us their order by text, by phone call, whatever's convenient.
Somebody identifies the need and then prepares the package, puts it on a drone.
Then we take that vehicle and we put it through pre-flight tests. It's launched, it flies automatically out to the clinic.
The path has been already calculated, it's in the computer.
And then they'll receive a text message saying, Zip is 2 minutes away, please walk outside.
It drops the packet, somebody goes and collects it.
It turns around, it flies home, and then we get it ready for the next delivery.
Our service not only makes it possible, but also affordable for countries to deliver reliable access to essential medicines for all of their citizens.
What we are looking forward to see here is saving lives.
This isn't a small step forward. This is a transformational change to how we provide medical care to people across the world.
Thank you so much. I think that video did it for you as much as it does for me. Every time I watch it, it just gives me this massive call to action that there's so much that we can do together. Through the power of collaboration, you saw how the government of Rwanda was able to collaborate with companies like Lockheed Martin, Google, SpaceX, to be able to put together such a project that is going to help deliver essential medical supplies to remote areas or communities that cannot be accessed with road infrastructure, especially during the rainy season. So that's a transformative approach and a transformative change to how we view delivery of essential medical supplies. So there is also need for us to look at transformational approaches and transformational solutions that will change the way that we are doing things today, how we can innovate, how we can make life better for others, because we are the generation that will do that. So leadership is about service. As you saw, everything, that's the chief primary thing. It's about serving others. Even as we look up to the visionaries of the church, Prophet Emmanuel Makandiwa and Mama Ruth Emmanuel Makandiwa, we can see that their life is centered on service. It's centered on ensuring that all of you have better lives. All of you have access to opportunities. All of you have access to spiritual guidance that will catapult you to the next level and bring you closer to the bigger picture that you are pursuing in your lives. Leadership is about contribution. As you saw, all these people are contributing in one way or the other to the community, and you can see positive, meaningful, and lasting contribution towards alleviating situations that people are facing in communities. So leadership is about that. Leadership is about inspiring hope. It's about problem solving that we touched on. Leadership is about inspiring hope. It's about facilitating change, transformation. It's about developing people and societies. It's about creating a desirable future. I challenge you to be the generation that will solve the challenges that we are facing. My take-off points for you is, what is my own calling to leadership? How will I show up as a transformative leader? How will I show up as a transformative leader for my nation? Which mountain do I want to conquer for Zimbabwe? So what change do you want to deliver? What problem do you want to solve? And what legacy do you want to leave behind? I want to thank the visionary leadership of Prophet Emmanuel Makandiwa and Mama Ruth Emmanuel Makandiwa for giving me this opportunity to speak to all of you and be able to inspire you and to challenge you to be the transformative leaders that we need to see in Zimbabwe and the world in the world at large. Thank you so much for being such a great audience. This is it from me. All right, you may be seated, and I will take a few questions for those that have. If there are no questions, I'll also take comments. You know, feedback is the breakfast for champions. So the feedback, so if you give me feedback, it will also make me feel good so that I know that I was talking to people. So comments, feedback, questions, but questions I will prioritize.
Hello, God Nation. How are you? Molibwanji.
Tilibuino.
Okay, so my question is like this. Sometimes you can have a very, very, very brilliant idea, and maybe you are alone, maybe you are at home, and really see this is a very brilliant idea. But what I want to ask is, how do you go about it? Like, to present your idea to people who can fund you. Is there a protocol? Do you need to go through banks? Do you need to visit someone who can say, okay, so I hear your idea, let me take you to this person who can help you? What's the right protocol? Because sometimes you can be facing a problem where you stay. Maybe I'm in Zambia and I'm seeing a problem. Maybe it's different from Zimbabwe, but I know you have something to tell me. And who do I see? What's the right protocol that I really need to follow so that I can have my idea up?
All right. Thank you so much for that great question. So the first thing, you have an idea. You have to validate the idea. So if it's, so the first thing before you even have an idea, you have a problem. You have the need that you have identified in your community. But you have to validate that that need actually exists, because it might exist in your mind. It might not really be a challenge to all other people. So there is need for you to research. That's number one. Go and do problem validation. So when you validate and you are certain that you have conducted a comprehensive and conclusive research that this problem actually exists, then it means that you have moved from an idea to proof of concept. So you have proven that there is a case here. So when you have done that, this is assuming that you've also incorporated people who are closer to the problem. They've also guided you that your idea is what will work for them. Because for every solution, there's a solution that's wrong, right, and irrelevant. So you want to be able to create a right solution, and you can only do that when you're guided by the people you want to solve that problem for. So once that is done, you have to move to the next stage, which is to create a prototype or a minimum viable product. So this minimum viable product is what you will use to now go to your stakeholders. There are people who fund ideas that are still at prototype stage, so you just have to research on who funds ideas that are at prototype. And those people will now give you the funding that you need to be able to launch into early market. So you have to find them. If they're angel investors, if they're venture capitalists, you have to find them. They are there. You have to find them. I'll give you one on top of my head, which I work with through AfriLabs, It's called the Africa Business Angel Network. So you can look them up. They've got footprint across Africa in funding ideas, but you have to be at prototype stage first. Then once you have done that, there is also need for you to do your stakeholder mapping to understand which stakeholders will help you to ensure that your solution become a success. And then when you know those stakeholders, you come up with a strategy, the engagement strategy. How are you going to engage them? Say, for example, you have an idea that you think will help the greater good of the church, so you want to probably approach the youth leadership here. So you need to understand what strategy are you going to use for you to be able to approach the youth leadership and get their buy-in. So you need to come up with strategies. Everything that you do has to be informed by the environment in which you're operating in. I hope that answers you.
All right, thank you so much, ma'am. My name is Zimbai. I'm an award-winning youth leader, but there's one thing that I've faced a challenge, rather to say. I had the opportunity of meeting you in Russia 2 weeks ago, and I was actually surprised to find you announcing the next few weeks later that you had been awarded the opportunity to be a part of the We Are Together prize, right? So my question is, how do you get into a room and then you end up collaborating or being a part of the projects that are going to come next? Then my second question is about mentorship. You mentioned some of the people in our church who have played a great role in mentoring you, right? How do you approach someone to be your mentor? And how do you become a great mentee? Because at one point I approached someone and I said, can you please be my mentor? And they said, act like a mentee. How do you act like a mentee to say, here I am, I'm being mentored by you, and I'm being a mentee?
Okay. Thank you so much, Bimba, and it's good to see you. You were also one of the people that were excited to find out that I was coming here, so thank you so much for that. So the first question you asked about finding opportunities. So opportunities are there. They are there. They are vast opportunities, some that I've not even heard about that I would love to tap into. But what you need to do is to work on your preparedness. You have to be prepared for the opportunity when it presents itself. So for me, I'm always learning, unlearning, relearning. So there's no time that you would ever find me and I'm not learning on something. So it's either I'm doing a certification, or right now I'm part of the LEAP Leadership Institute Women in Africa Leadership Program. I actually enrolled for that. So this serves to prepare me, because one of the modules was how do you groom yourself and give yourself an executive presence? How do you negotiate for opportunities? So when you go through those modules and you learn, it gives you that upper hand, because now you know how to navigate. So you have the know-how, you have the confidence that you have the skills, the necessary skills, you have got the work that speaks for itself. So especially, particularly for Russia, these are people that didn't know me before, so they don't know of all the work that I've done. But because I have got a digital footprint, if you go on my LinkedIn, I'm not shy to put on the work that I do. So they went on LinkedIn and they saw a trail of the work. Also, Audrey has done this, she's been here, she's been that. She's a valuable resource. They also saw the footprint of the educational opportunities that I tap into that makes me knowledgeable about the subject matter that I'm talking about. So that was preparedness on my part, so that when that opportunity presents itself, I am ready for it. So my question is, what are you doing today that prepares you for a point in time when opportunity will present itself? Will you be ready for it? Are you well equipped? Do you have the skill sets, the mindsets, and the tool sets that will help you to be able to get that opportunity? Right. The second question on mentorship, I have a lot of people approaching me for mentorship. So I deal with this almost every day, and it's overwhelming. So for me, the first thing, if someone says, can you mentor me? I'm like, can you go and write down why you want me to mentor you? To how do you want me to mentor you? Because a mentor doesn't tell you what to do, they guide you. So I'm not going to say yes and then start telling you, Vimbai, do this, do that. No. I want you to own your story. I want you to own your journey, but I just want to say, okay, this is a suggestion. Where you're going, I've been there, and there's fire. You need maybe to navigate this way. So that's why it's important for you to be able to tell me why. And that's where a lot of people drop off. Because they don't know. You're just excited because you've met Audrey. She's the African wildfire. But you're not telling me how you would want me to help you. So how do I help you? Right? So the person that I would love to mentor is someone who's aware of self-awareness that I was talking about. Someone who knows what they want and where they are going is the person that I want to mentor. So if you're able to articulate those things, people will see that, oh, there's potential in Vimbai. I think I want to be a part of her journey. But if you're just showing that if you're not organized, then it gives me a lot of work. And sometimes there are people who are patient. I'm patient to organize others. I'm very patient. So you find that someone comes to you and they write, I'm looking for a job. And I say, okay, fine, send a CV. I will hear from my colleagues. And then the next thing, ma'am, how far? My time is running out. I'm like, why do you sound so entitled? And that would put off someone. But I always take time to educate, to say, no, that's not how you approach it. You are asking, and I am tapping into networks that I've built over time. And I want to be so sure that recommending you is not going to tarnish the relationship that I've built, which I want to use for me. I hope that helps.
All right. Thank you, ma'am, for the wonderful presentation. My question is a very simple one, and I just wanted to ask that sometimes when you are put in positions of leadership, how do you go about balancing the emotional side? I understand that as a leader you need to be self-aware, but how do you go about considering others and helping your peers achieve their best selves? How do you go about balancing making the harsh decisions and the stern-faced decisions? How do you go about considering what others have to say and how they feel about it?
Okay. 2 words, emotional intelligence, number 1. Number 2, communication. Right. So emotional intelligence is the ability to manage your emotions. There are people who react with emotions. You become emotional. So you don't want to become emotional in situations. You want to be rational in terms of your emotions. Because there are spaces where people are going to put you in that very position where you have to be harsh with them. But it's important to communicate. I have had to go through that path as well, where I had to be not harsh, but strict with people. And I would communicate the reason why I am doing this, the reason why I'm sending you home is because you are lagging the company behind. You don't possess the DNA that we want in this organization. We have done so much to invest in you. We have done leadership programs, but it seems as if you're just not getting it. So maybe you are not a fit for this company culture, but you could fit elsewhere. So we would rather make space for someone who can adapt to our company culture because that is important. So you communicate in a very nice way. The truth, you have to just communicate. Otherwise, you can want to be nice and then sink everyone and just throw everyone under the bus because you just want to be nice. It's okay. And even in relationships as well, I've gotten to a place where I would tell maybe someone that I'm seeing that, it's not your problem, but it's just that we don't align. It's like I thought we were going to the same destination, but it's like you're going to Kariba, I'm going to Mutare. I don't want to get a point where I get to Kariba and then say, why am I here? So I would rather drop off here. It's okay that I was in Chinhoyi, that I wasted all this time going the wrong direction, but I would rather stop here, go back to Harare and get the bus to Mutare. Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you, ma'am. There is a comment this side to your extreme left.
Thank you so much, my sister. These lessons are key to us because we are the leaders of this generation. Again, the greatest lesson that I think I got is leadership is not a position, but it's a function. one doesn't become a leader by being given a title, but becomes a leader by acting like one. From that video that you showed us, we could notice that there were others who were even sleeping with titles. While a young man without a title had an ability to see the need. So, meaning to say, even here, you have taught us that we don't need names to do what is right. We just need to take action and become leaders, even coming from this camp. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. These are the questions and comments that we had for today.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll leave you with a quote from one philosopher, Longfellow. He says, "The heights by great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight." The heights by great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight. So where you see the visionary prophet Emmanuel Makandiwa and Mama Ruth Emmanuel Makandiwa being today was not a sudden flight. It's a whole journey that I know you all know about. So I want you to embrace this journey to leadership. Start small, grow big. It is the small intentional steps that will create the biggest impact. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best as you journey forward in your leadership. May God continue to bless you.